You know what I find really annoying? It's the fact that when coronavirus cases started appearing in Wuhan last December, scientists didn't give it a name immediately, so nobody really knew what to call it. Now listen guys, I don't claim to be some sort of virologist or anything, alright? But I'm willing to put forward that the name of a virus should not only be memorable, but also easy to pronounce when you're trying to talk normally. You know, so that you don't sound like a pepega. Take HIV for example. When someone says HIV, we know exactly what they're talking about. It's only 3 syllables, no biggie. But the coronavirus is different. Oh no. These scientists, these nerd scientists, they did not give the coronavirus a simple name. On January 7th, the official name adopted by Chinese officials was 2019 NCOV. I mean, no one really says that, but it's still memorable enough, I guess. But no, on the 11th of February, the official name adopted by the ICTV was Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus 2. That is literally the worst. Who's gonna remember that? Oh hey guys, you know the severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus. No, man, y'all went from like 4 syllables to 16. But it doesn't matter because most people like you and me just call it coronavirus. Or if you're a massive nerd, then you'll call it COVID or COVID-19. Now there's a few problems with that. First off, calling it coronavirus. Well, it's not technically true, and the reason why is because coronavirus describes a family of viruses instead of just one strain. There were a few that appeared in the past, such as SARS, which appeared in 2003 in mainland China, leading to the death of 774 people. Next is one that appeared more recently, which is MERS, which is thought to have been transmitted to humans from dromedary camels, somewhere in the Middle East. And finally, there's this thing, which appeared because someone just didn't know what to eat. But calling it COVID isn't true either, and the reason why is because COVID describes the disease, not the virus. So people call it all sorts of different things, but now as a result, I don't know what to call this. Like, I genuinely do not have a clue. I'm not calling it this monstrosity, that's for sure. So, to avoid all arguments in the comment section from kids and experts alike, and for the sake of me not sounding like a tryhard, I will call it coronavirus. Yes, I know I'm wrong. Do I care? Not really. Moving on. So, what is the coronavirus? The coronavirus is a virus. What is a virus anyway? Well, viruses are very, very small. Many don't understand just how small viruses are, so I'll put it into perspective for you. My teacher had a really good way of putting it, saying if a cell was like a factory, then a virus would be like a rat. They're incredibly small, sneaking their way in unnoticed. I mean, an epithelial cell is like 10 micrometers, whereas a virus is only 100 nanometers. Picture it this way. If a cell was as tall as a regular-sized bowling ball, then a virus would only be as big as a lentil, or even smaller. Now obviously, viruses cannot be seen with the naked eye. Their image can only be processed on a computer with the help of a really powerful microscope called an electron microscope. These things are massive, and they're so powerful that they're almost powerful enough to see your IQ. As of writing this script on the 9th of June, the coronavirus has taken 397,000 lives and spread to over 188 countries. But how does this tiny thing that's not even alive, smaller than the exit button on video game ads, spread to so many countries and take so many lives? Well, viruses have their ways. First, let's try to understand what the coronavirus is made out of. Viruses are very simple creatures. They're not even considered alive because they lack the ability to reproduce on their own. This is because of their anatomy. Viruses are basically just a bit of genetic material enveloped in a lipid membrane and a bunch of different proteins. Without a host, viruses are about as useful as those electric erasers that kids in my school use because they think it makes them look cool. Now, to attack our cells, the virus has to enter our body first, of course. And they do this when we touch an infected surface and then touch any of our orifices, such as our nose, mouth, and eyes. The virus then spreads to the mucous membrane, using its spike protein as a sort of key, just like a key going into a lock, to latch onto the surface of the cell, releasing its genetic material. Like I said, a virus can't do much on its own, so it reproduces by using the cell's mechanisms to synthesize the proteins and the genetic material that the virus needs to create more of itself. The virus is a scammer. It goes up to the cell, telling it to Control-C, Control-V, and the cell's just like, alright, sure. And finally, after copy and pasting millions of times, the cell commits one final act. Alt F4. It explodes, releasing millions more viruses into the body. But of course, our body has defense mechanisms against this. We have the immune system, with cells such as the macrophage and the neutrophil. They swiftly flood the battlefield, killing viruses. But the problem arises when the cells fight so hard that they damage healthy cells in the process. When healthy cells are weakened, they're susceptible to bacterial infection. Lung cells get weakened, leading to inflammation, and they fill up with fluid. Pneumonia sets in. At this point, a lot of patients will find it very difficult to breathe, requiring a ventilator. In some cases, not enough oxygen is transported to healthy cells for them to respire. Healthy cells begin to die. And finally, organ failure. Hundreds to thousands of people have died this way. Some can't even mourn their dead for risk of infection. In a pandemic as deadly as this one, I think it's really important that we remain aware and educated so we can protect ourselves and those around us. I really hope you've learned something today, and if you find this video useful, please share it. It takes a while to make, so I'd appreciate it greatly. Thank you for watching, everyone.